Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story right here is going to break your heart because it's senseless. This thing continues to happen. And I think there is a narrative that I continue to keep speaking about. I think people are ignoring it when I talk about when these fathers try to step up and participate in their children's life. I think that a lot of times what we end up doing is we tell men that we want one thing out of them, but then we show something completely different in our behavior as a society. And I think that's got to change. And I'm going to continue to call these things out because I want to see us get better and I want to see our children be protected and us do better by our children. This story is absolutely senseless, coming out of Brooklyn. So some of y'all might have already heard about this if you read the title, but let me give you a disclaimer before we dive into this because I got a lot of opinions. But some of you guys might find my content offensive and controversial. The information is coming from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, and news websites. This commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing these tragedies. Viewer discretion is advised, and that is your official disclaimer for those who have flagging fingers. Please don't flag my channel. So, Brooklyn at Coney Island. Children were found unconscious on Coney Island Beach after an emergency call early morning Monday. I said that wrong. Early Monday morning. Kind of mixed those words together. Their mother was discovered nearby, barefoot and soaking wet. Let me see if I can get this individual up on my screen. Got a lot of pictures here. Let me kind of scan through them just to... I want y'all to take a look at this picture and look how ridiculous this woman looks. Like, it looks like somebody took, like, let me, look, I gotta be mean. Look, this woman killed children. I'm sorry if y'all don't like me ragging on these folks, but I have no idea what barbershop this woman went to that some drunk barber took the clippers and just ran them across the side of her head like that. Like a lawnmower just got loose and just right across the side of her head. What the hell, man? Jesus. Like, why does her scalp look like that? Like it looked like a forest fire that happened on top of her head. But nonetheless, she's not a victim. She is a horrible person. I think she's going to hell to be with Satan, her father, and I'm going to tell you why. It was just before 2 a.m. Monday when a call came in to the New York Police Department. Could officers check on a 30-year-old Brooklyn woman? A relative was concerned her 3 young children were in danger. It took about 90 minutes at another 911 call for the officers to find the woman who was barefoot and soaking wet. And I'm getting this article from NewYorkTimes.com, who forced me to create an account just to read this article. So I guess thank you for the article, even though I had to create an account, but I digress. A relative was concerned that her 3 young children were in danger. We'll get there. It took 90 minutes and another 911 call for officers to find the woman who was barefoot and soaking wet. She was with relatives at Brighton 6th Street and Riegelman, I think I said that correctly, Riegelman Boardwalk, said Kenneth Corey, the chief of department at a Monday morning news conference. The children, a 3-month-old boy, let me say that again, a 3-month-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, and a 7-year-old boy were not there. Let me see. I think I had a picture. I found this relatively late. This is the best I can do when it comes to their identities. So the one boy who is listed here in the picture, Zachary Murdy, 7 years old. That's the older boy. And I have to assume that maybe these children had different fathers. I believe they did, because we're going to hear from his father. Leilana Murdy, 4 years old, who is the 4-year-old girl, and then a 3-month-old boy by the name of Oliver Bondarev. And that's all we have as far as their identity. So we only have one of the children's photos. It took another hour of searching by land, air, and sea for officers to find them unconscious on the shoreline at West 35th Street and Coney Island, about 2 miles from where they found their mother, Chief Corey said. The children were taken to Coney Island Hospital, where they were pronounced dead, according to Chief Corey. Authorities did not identify the woman, but Derek Murdy, a Navy veteran who lives in Norfolk, Virginia, and is the father of 7-year-old Zachary. Let me see if I can get the biological father's picture up here, which is this young man. You might not be able to see that. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. You can't really tell by a picture, but he seems like a decent guy, so I'm going to call that and just say he looks like a good dude. But that's the biological father of at least that kid. I don't know if he's the father of the other child, the middle child. But that's the father. They didn't identify the woman, but Derek Murdy, a Navy veteran who lives in Norfolk, Virginia, and is the father of 7-year-old Zachary, said she was his ex-wife by the name of Erin Murdy, Erinmerdy. So her name is Erin. This individual. He identified the other children who were not his as Liliana and Oliver. So there you go. So the first two children have because they were okay, because I was getting confused. So the first two children have his last name. She has his last name because they were married, even though that middle child is not his kid. That is confusing. So it sounds like 3 baby daddies. Maybe I read that wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. Let me bring this up again. I want y'all to notice the 2 first children have the same last name. The 7-year-old is his son, but the 4-year-old is not. Did y'all catch that? If y'all would, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up if you're listening to this stream. It'll help share this story and let more people know that we're live talking about this. I'm going to say it again. They were married. So if they were married, then that means that she carried his last name at least 7 years ago because they made a kid together, which is how Zachary Murdy got his name, which is the boy that you see in the picture that's actually showing his face. Liliana Murdy, the 4-year-old, according to this article at NewYorkTimes.com, says he identified the other children who were not his. So that's at least 2 baby dads between Zachary's dad and Liliana's dad. So I want y'all to look at the last name of the 3-month-old, Oliver Bondarev. So I'm going to assume that Bondarev is not the last name of Liliana's dad or Zachary's dad, which would make 3 baby daddies. Everybody catch that? I know that's confusing because it confused the hell out of me. All right. Let's keep going. Chief Corey said early Monday, the children's mother was being questioned but was not in custody. By evening, police officials had not released any information about possible charges in the case. When the mother was found, she was wet, she was barefoot, and she was not communicative with to officers. Mr. Murdy said his ex-wife's relatives told him that she had brought the children to the water. How did the relatives find out? How did the relatives find out that this mother was taking 3 children to the river? Did she call them and tell them? Did they see it? Police investigators, he said, would only say that the children had drowned. all three of those children, not just mine. How could she just walk them out to the ocean and leave them there? Mr. Murdy said on Monday afternoon. In an interview, Mr. Murdy said he first met Miss Murdy on Facebook and they married in 2014. He said, so 14, that is, yeah. So, oh my God. So, yes. So, how long were they married then? That's what I would like to know. So, they married in 2014. Zachary was born in 2015. So, they've been together a little bit less than a year. The couple broke up bitterly soon after Miss Murdy broke up bitterly soon after. Why do they word this like that? It's like it makes it hard to read. Mr. Murdy said. He said he had been fighting for custody ever since. He had been trying to get custody of his son ever since then. And I want y'all to think about this. Instead of her just giving custody over to him for a child that she clearly didn't love, she didn't love any of her children. She killed them all. Why couldn't she just give him custody? We have a little hashtag here at the AFC called hashtag babies for benefits. So that means that she only had these children because she was looking to benefit off of these children. Because she clearly didn't love them. You can't love children that you go and attempt to murder and kill them like this. But you'll fight him for custody. You'll give him hell and high water, no pun intended, while this man is fighting for custody for, it sounds like, 6 years. So if she had this kid, and there's one kid that's 7, one kid is 4, and one kid is 3 months. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 years. So in about 36 months, she was already having another child with somebody completely different under her ex-husband's last name. I was trying to get my son. Now that's never going to happen, he said before breaking into sobs. Mr. Murdy said Miss Murdy was unreliable as she shuttled between Virginia, New York, and a posting in Japan, often not appearing at designated places to hand over Zachary. He said the child would often come to him dirty, without sufficient clothing for a visit. Zachary would tell him there wasn't enough food to eat where he was staying. So this fat ass hippopotamus of a mother is wider than that gurney that she's on. Like, look at how big she is. Don't y'all find that ironic? That is always the people that are completely obese and overweight, that know the value of sustenance, that know how valuable it is to eat, will starve children who can't speak for themselves nor defend themselves. You know what people say when I say that? Jay, you're fat shaming. You know what I say to that? Who gives a flying F? Who cares? So what? I'm fat shaming. So what? She hasn't missed a meal. And she would subject that to her children? A child that can't go out and go work, a child that is only in this world because she forced it on these children. They had no say-so in that. People would get mad at me and say I'm fat shaming, but she starved children. Why don't they have that same energy for the children that were starved? Why don't they have that same energy for the children that were drowned? And that's why I continue to point out the hypocrisy, and that's why I continue to keep doing what I do. And I try to just simply show people you're getting mad at the wrong thing. If you're getting mad at me, then you clearly don't understand what's happening here. I think everybody here at the AFC understands, but it amazes me how the comment section will be just lit up with people mad because I talked about her lack of a haircut, or just somebody who didn't give a shit about how they was barbering her head, or butchered her head, I should say. Nobody's going to get mad about the fact that she probably is going to have heart disease from being so freaking overweight because she can't put the cheesy poofs down. She can't put the snacky cakes down. All the drinks that are probably, all the sodas that are probably loaded with all this unnecessary carbonation and sugar, just filling up her bloodstream and cholesterol and clogs and all type of fat clogs and things like that. That didn't kill her. Her walking her children out to the ocean, that didn't kill her. And she's a murderer. Thank you for saying that. They'll get mad at me. Cheesy Poofs, of course, that's off of South Park. If you guys watch South Park, it's one of my favorite shows. Mr. Murdy said that the mother kept his son in shelters where he would go to the bathroom in a bowl. Let me read that again. God, this pisses me off. This man clearly has the ability to take care of his son. And let me tell y'all, when we talk about babies for benefits, in this country, in our society, in general, not all, but it is very easy for women who have children, not all, let me say that again, for the slow ones, who might be slower than a bottle of molasses left in the snow. It is easy in our society for women to get help when they have children, right or wrong. In our society, it's easy for a woman to get food stamps if she has children, right or wrong. It is easier for a woman to get, what do they call that? Child support, Section 8, food stamps, and potentially in some states they can get car vouchers, free cars. There are actually programs that you can Google search that will actually give them free cars if you just apply for the help. That's not even including the fact that you have a capable father who is serving our country in the military. Clearly, he has no issue being able to take care of his child. She is living in a shelter and had her son going to the bathroom in a bowl. Isn't that something? In a bowl, really? In a 2019 text exchange shared by Mr. Murdy, the mother said that she is thinking of giving up her rights to Zachary. Thinking of it. Thinking of it. Remember, she killed him. She killed him. She's thinking of it. I love him enough to let him stay with you or your mom because I want the best for him, she wrote. I want him to excel. So what changed? Let's keep going. The mother, or Mr. Murdy, said he started to become fully aware of what was happening in his son's life when Zachary began to spend more time with him when he was about 6 years old. He recorded his son talking about his life with his mother in an effort to further his bid for custody. She makes me starve, Zachary told his father. She starved him. What do you mean by that? Dad said. I don't know. She makes me starve, Zachary replied. I didn't do nothing bad. She makes me starve. The father said his efforts to get help from authorities came to nothing. It didn't matter how much I called Child Protective Services, he said. They would tell me, oh, you don't have any real evidence. But they didn't do a real investigation. A spokeswoman for the city's Administration for Children's Services said that the agency is investigating the death with the police department, but would not comment further. Isn't that awesome? You wait until the children die and then you want to do an investigation. Whoop-de fucking do. I think that's the way we should do it. Don't y'all think? We should wait until it's too goddamn late We should wait until the children have already been murdered by their caretakers, and then we're going to do an investigation to find out, was there abuse? Another problem. Let's keep going. It's unclear whether the mother had a lawyer and efforts to reach her mother and other relatives were unsuccessful. At Miss Murdy's mother's apartment, a woman said through a closed door that she did not want to talk to a reporter on Monday afternoon. Dean Steffen, an aunt who lives in North Carolina, said in an interview on Monday that Miss Murdy was struggling and that it was declining to say anything else about her niece. I think she was getting ready to say mental illness. Miss Steffen didn't know the details of what happened on Monday. The search for the family in the misty hours was a full effort by the police department, 60th precinct. Officers searched through the streets, the boardwalk, the beach, and Coney Island Hospital, Chief Corey said at a news conference. Sirens could be heard as lights flashed on the boardwalk where officers were administering CPR to one of the children. Let me bring these pictures up because I think that they're important. There was one in particular. Yeah, this one. If y'all don't mind, these pictures, of course, are blurred out for some level of privacy purposes. And I always find it funny how in this country, a lot of times we talk about racism. We talk about people of other races in such a negative manner, and that's coming from our people. We say that a lot in public. But I want y'all to notice that every picture that I have here, look at all the people who are trying to help revive and save these children. Every single picture. These aren't jobs that black people can't be applying for. We could apply to be police officers. We could apply to be first responders. We could get an education to go be doctors. There's a lot of stuff we could be out here doing. But it's funny how when you look at these pictures, there is a large level of people that don't look anything like us as far as skin color that are trying to save these babies. And we make it seem like these people are bad people, but the people who continue to commit all the violence against us look just like us. Ask that 7-year-old boy and tell his mom, ask him, was his mama a queen? Does he love his mama unconditionally? What about that 4-year-old girl? You want to tell her that her mama can't do nothing wrong? What about that 3-month-old baby? You want to tell her that she needs to honor and respect her mother? Or his mother, the 3-month-old boy? Let me skip the rest of this. Let me just go ahead and give you guys the fair usage. Got a couple of news videos I want to play real quick. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If y'all would, guys, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. If you're watching, we want to have one thumb up for everybody that's listening to help share this story. But I got a couple news videos I want to play. So if y'all would, just close the chat, hit that thumbs up. Here we go. Let's get it.
Just as a reminder, the information that I'm going to give you is preliminary and subject to change, as this incident is only a few hours old. Earlier this morning, at about 1:40 a.m., officers from the 60th Precinct responded to an apartment at 3325 Neptune Avenue in response to a 911 call placed by a concerned family member who was at a different location. and the caller indicated that she was concerned that her family member may have harmed her 3 small children. Officers responded to that apartment. They received no answer to a knock on the door, and inside the building they were met by an individual who identified himself to be the father of one of the children, who expressed similar concerns and said that he believed that the woman and the children were on the boardwalk here in Coney Island. The officers began, along with other officers from the 60th Precinct, a search for the woman and her children. That involved canvassing the boardwalk, the beach, the streets of Coney Island Hospital, and her own apartment at 3325 Neptune Avenue, where the officers found the door unlocked. This search continued for approximately 90 minutes until the officers, in response to an additional 911 call, were directed to Brighton 6th Street and Riegelman Boardwalk, which is approximately 2 miles down the boardwalk from where we are now. At that location, the officers found a 30-year-old female, believed to be the mother of the 3 children. She was accompanied by other family members, but not the children. The search now intensified. Aviation units, harbor units, and additional canvases of the shoreline. At about 4:42 this morning, the officers discovered 3 children, a 7-year-old male, a 4-year-old female, and another female who was approximately 3.5 months old, on the shoreline here at the water's edge at West 35th Street in Coney Island. The officers immediately initiated life-saving measures, including CPR, on the children, and they were rushed to Coney Island Hospital, where they were regrettably pronounced deceased. As we said, this is a very active investigation. We ask anyone who may have information as to what transpired here to call our Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-577-TIPS. All your calls will be kept confidential.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube.
Breaking news now. 3 children are dead this morning after a drowning incident in Coney Island, Brooklyn.
CBS 2's Elijah Westbrook joins us from the scene with an update. Elijah.
Yeah, just as sad and told as Chris and Mary, we now know that the 3-month-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and 7-year-old boy all died this morning after they were found unresponsive in the ocean around 3:20 this morning. Take a look at the scene right now as we speak. Several officers, including investigators and detectives, chatting amongst themselves about this incident here. Take a look at also the dramatic video that we gathered earlier. On 3:20 to report that an emotionally disturbed woman was walking around on the boardwalk. Police got here moments later and found her over on 6th Street, which is just about a half a mile away. They say she made certain statements that led officers to believe that she had ties to the kids who were later found here on 35th Street. Well, the children were rushed to Coney Island Hospital this morning where they died. Now, police plan to update us later this morning about the specifics, but we sadly now know that the 3 children ranging in ages from 3-month-old to 4 years old and even 7-year-old were found dead right here at Coney Island Beach. And that is where we are reporting live from this morning. I'm Elijah Westbrook. Chris and Mary, let's send it back to you.
Elijah, thank you.
I found this on Facebook. This one's relatively short. Sad story. This is them actually trying to save the kids. So some of it is going to be blurred out.
There's no other way to describe this than horrendous. The NYPD says a 30-year-old mother drowned her 3 small children at a Coney Island beach in Brooklyn, New York, early Monday morning. Police say they got a call around 1:40 a.m. from the mother's sister, concerned she would hurt her kids. The mother reportedly told a cousin she drowned her own children.
The search now intensified. Aviation units, harbor units, and additional canvases of the shoreline. At about 4:42 this morning, the officers discovered 3 children, a 7-year-old male, a 4-year-old female, and another female who's approximately 3.5 months old on the shoreline here.
Police went to the family's apartment building just a half-mile from the beach. While there, cops ran into the father of one of the kids. He told police the mother and the children were on the boardwalk, and he too was concerned about what she might do. The NYPD says the children had no history of abuse. Police say when they found the mother, she was soaking wet and barefoot.
We know that the children are found here. Officers retrieve them from the shoreline, attempt to revive them, which ultimately fails, and we know that she's found 2 miles away. What we need to put together is what happened in the before and then in the in-between.
They have taken her in for questioning, but they say she's being tight-lipped as the investigation continues and funeral plans for 3 small children begin. If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. You can do so anonymously. 800.
We begin with that disturbing investigation developing in Brooklyn. Police believe a mother may have drowned her own 3 children. CBS News' Elijah Westbrook is live in Coney Island with the very latest. Elijah.
And if y'all would, like I said, I'm going to just pause it from time to time and just remind you if you could just close the chat and click that thumbs up. That'll help share this video, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, Mary, this truly is a tough pill to swallow for folks who either knew or did not know the 3 young children who drowned. Just behind me is where they were found unconscious earlier this morning. And as you had mentioned, Mary, there is growing suspicion this afternoon that the mother is behind it all. You can't see her, but on the other side of this white sheet being carried by police here at the 60th precinct is the mother who they believe drowned her own children overnight. She was being escorted by detectives into an ambulance and taken to the hospital. Police say around 1:40 this morning, a 911 call came in from this building here on Neptune Avenue, where the mother and her children lived just a half a mile from the beach. They say the mother's sister called police out of concern that she might harm her 3 little ones, a 3-month-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, and a 7-year-old boy. While inside the building, police ran into the father of one of the kids. He tells police the mother and the children were on the boardwalk, and he too was also concerned about what she might do.
This search continued for approximately 90 minutes until the officers, in response to an additional 911 call, were directed to Brighton 6th Street and Riegelman Boardwalk, which is approximately 2 miles down the boardwalk from where we are now. At that location, the officers found a 30-year-old female, believed to be the mother of the 3 children. She was accompanied by other family members, but not the children.
Authorities say when she was found, her clothes were soaked and she was barefoot. Her statements to police eventually led them to believe she had something to do with the drowning. More than an hour later, the kids were found just off of 35th Street in the water, unconscious. The kids were rushed to Coney Island Hospital where they could not be saved.
I really didn't know her personally, but I knew her kids because when I walked my dog, they always wanted to pet the dog, and it was devastating to hear.
It's really sad because she could have got help.
And at the end of that story, there are 2 of the neighbors that lived right next door to the family there, clearly expressing their sadness. Now, we should mention that we did go ahead and ask police if there was any sort of history between the family and Child Protective Services, and as we speak, that is being looked into. For now, charges are pending against the mother.
Breaking news. Police and rescue crews are on the scene of an incident in the waters off Coney Island. It's left 3 children critically hurt.
And I know some of y'all are asking questions. I'm going to actually answer one of your questions here in just a moment, so y'all bear with me. I'm going to take a pause real quick. Let me say what's up, Larry. I see you in the building. Sorrowful Angel, much love. And those who showed some love, I'm going to shout them out here in just a minute. Let me say thank you. Said 650 people watching. Let's smash that like button. Thank you again. Y'all subscribe to Abney Run Up. That is JoJo. Make sure y'all subscribe to his page, man. He is putting out awesome, awesome videos. I am featured in some of those videos, so make sure y'all go and show some love. I need all 650 people to go subscribe to JoJo, including the other 200 we had earlier in this stream, okay? So y'all go sub up and also go subscribe to Put It in the Air podcast as well. Hell, go subscribe to everybody we mess with. Go subscribe to Molly Go Lightly. Go subscribe to Make This Go Viral, Illicit Deeds, everybody. Kimberly Flower. Go subscribe to everybody. All right, let's keep going.
CBS News' Elijah Westbrook joins us live from the scene with more this morning. Elijah.
That's right. Well, Chris and Mary, as you mentioned, 3 children found unresponsive in critical condition. You can see it's still an active investigation going on, but it is dark out this way. So let's go ahead and show you video that we gathered earlier this morning, showing you a more active situation there. We know that this call came in at around 3:20 this morning. Again, about 3 children found unresponsive near the ocean on 35th Street. Now get this, we're hearing it's a 3-month-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and a 7-year-old boy, all listed as critical. Police are investigating whether the mother, 30-year-old woman, tried to drown the children. She is being questioned by police. This happened around 3:20 this morning. It's a 3-month-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and 7-year-old boy, all recovering over at Coney Island Hospital. Now the scene has died down just a bit as the attention now is on this mother who is being questioned on whether or not she drowned or tried to drown these kids. But you can see that there are at least 4 or 5 officers standing here, and even down in the sand area closer to the ocean, we were seeing some crews out this way. So of course we'll try to gather as much information as possible and bring it to you right here on the air. For now, we're live here at Coney Island. Elijah Westbrook, Chris and Mary, let's send it back to you.
Elijah, thank you.
All right, so let me give my closing thoughts about this story, about this mother. As a matter of fact, we actually had somebody in the chat that asked a question earlier. And they asked, how wasn't the father able to get custody? Let me tell you how he was not able to. It's just like many stories. Let's take a step back about 4 years ago. You guys remember the story of Anaya Day Garrett? You guys remember that story? Out of Cuyahoga, Cleveland, Ohio. Why wasn't Michael Garrett able to get custody of his beautiful 4-year-old daughter, Anaya Day Garrett? Because he was having to go to court, pay a lawyer, and fight for custody. And essentially, he had to prove that his daughter was better off in his care. And most of the time, what fathers end up having to do is they have to basically show the mother to be an incompetent, bad parent. Let me say that again. They have to prove that they are bad parents and that the fathers are better parents. That's basically what has to happen in our society until the courts decide that they want to be a little more fair to fathers. That's what's happened. That's what's happening. They have to end up being just the worst mothers possible. And in a lot of cases, those mothers end up still keeping the kids anyway. So I want y'all to imagine how dangerous that is. If the father is trying to gather evidence, trying to gather statements from their kids, and they're going to have to present that in family court. How dangerous do you think that is for the children? I can guarantee you, if men could just put up a simple petition and say, look, I'm the better qualified parent. I make more money. I'm more stable. Yes, you deserve custody, or we're going to split the custody. It would be nice if that's the way it worked. But not only does he have to have all of his ducks in a row, he also has to prove that she is not a competent parent. Let me tell you why this really blows my mind. You want to know the one thing that would have proved that she was a terrible parent? One thing. You remember when I read in that article from NewYorkTimes.com? She was living in a shelter. That is something you can prove. That is something that you can show when they ask you, where's your residence? And if you tell them, yeah, I'm staying out here at the homeless shelter or whatever it is that you're staying at the women's facility or whatever it is, if you ask me, if I had to choose, if I were a judge and I had to choose between a child staying with a mother who don't have a fucking roof over her head or a father who's in the military who has the financial means to be able to take care of his child and hasn't proven to be a danger to his kid, I'd say let's take this child away from a situation where he doesn't have a roof over his head and put the child with the father until otherwise the mother proves that maybe he shouldn't have the kid. I think that's the way that should have worked. The fact that she was homeless, that alone should have made it where he got custody, no questions asked. I know some people might not agree with that, and I know that people come across hard times. I understand a little bit about what that feels like. I do. But at the same time, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of a kid. And if there's a more capable parent, then I think that that other parent should be the provider and primary caretaker. I can't talk today for that kid. Tell me if I'm wrong about what I'm saying. We have an open chat. This is an open dialogue. If I'm saying something that you disagree with, please let me know. But I think what I said is fair. What she did to these kids, and even teasing this man after 6 years, talking about, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and let your son go with you. Why did she not do it? Oh, because she was suffering from mental illness, y'all. Y'all don't know what her mental state was. Y'all don't know what she was going through. If you ask me, I don't know what she was going through, nor do I care what she was going through. Because what she was going through matters nothing compared to what those children had to go through. And this is where we got to start stepping up and just flat out be adults. That's what adulting and that's what parenting is. What you're going through doesn't matter as much as what your children have to go through. They cannot speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. Therefore, if you can't and are not in a good situation, then you should not have kids. This was a failed marriage. At least they somewhat did it the right way. They got married, then had kids. They had one kid, whatever reason, broke up, and then she turned around and wasn't stable, then had another kid by somebody completely different, and then, let me see, 9, 10, 11, a year ago, got pregnant by some other random man. That's not mental illness. That's a conscious decision. And if she had that much mental illness going on, if you want to blame that, if you want to bring that into court and defend her and say that she should get less time in jail because clearly she was going through something, then she should have never have had custody of any of those kids. She should have never been allowed to be a parent if her mental illness were going to cause harm and hurt to these kids. My message about that has always been the same. Those kids, precious babies, we saw one. We didn't get to see the other two. Maybe those pictures will come out later, but I do want to pay some respects to them. I'm going to bring their names up again so I can pay homage. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So the oldest boy, Zachary. Let me see if I can get him and his dad's picture up here. That woman looks absolutely pathetic, tied up like that. Absolutely pathetic. Zachary Murdy, 7 years old. Liliana Murdy, 4 years old. And Oliver Bondarev, kids, young souls, R.I.P. Hope you guys listen with an open mind. And I really hope that the more that we tell these stories as cautionary tales, that somebody will stop this mess that's going on in its tracks. I don't know at what point the family knew about this, if they could have stopped this. This is a tragedy that could have been prevented. If she would have just gave up custody, this could have been a little bit less of a tragedy that would have been prevented as well. But nonetheless, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you. Guys, we're going to go ahead and start on story number 2. We do have a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to go right into this next story, which is going to be, if you were looking at the thumbnail of this video when you came to YouTube, it's going to be the story that's on the left-hand side of the thumbnail, because I had 2 stories on. This one's on the left-hand side. That last story was on the right-hand side. So this is going to be the one we're going to talk about. With this dude, I'm going to try to mind my words, because I got a lot of rough things to say. And that beautiful little girl. See, that is this one. I'm actually surprised there weren't more news videos on YouTube with this particular story. I don't know if y'all heard about this story. What's up? Crystal said you finally caught a live stream. Thank you. I know some people. Is this y'all first time catching a live stream? If y'all will, let us know if this is your first time here, as I do not want to shock you guys if I say something that might make you piss your panties. Where are you guys watching from? This is story number 2 out of 6. So if y'all will, either moderators or channel members, if y'all can let them know. We are on story number 2 out of 6. We're going to talk about that baby right there. Robbie, Granny Robbie, are you still in the chat? Thank you, Spicy Kai, sending love to their loved ones. Thank you very, very much. Definitely appreciate that. And somebody said earlier, I did catch that. You said that you were showing some love out of Arkansas. I did see that, but much love. Definitely appreciate that. That was Jack. So much love, Jack. Said, we love you, Jay, here in Arkansas. I want to know where in Arkansas. My dad is originally from Arkansas, so I'm familiar with Arkansas. But much love. Definitely appreciate that. Where are you guys watching from? Type it in the chat. Show where you are from. Show some love for yourselves. Look at that. We got Sydney, Australia in the building. That is awesome. Thank you. Be-more. Tennessee. St. Joe. Be-more. San Antonio. Fort Worth. I'm in Fort Worth all the time. Let me say thank you real quick, if y'all don't mind, to, I'm going to just read your first name. Elaine said, just a little thank you for your big heart. Elaine, if you're listening, thank you. To They Call Me B. And I also need to shout out JoJo again. Let me see. OKC is in the building. Yeah. Got a couple people from OKC. Larry is from OKC. Abney Runup is from OKC also. Here's his channel. I think that's the correct channel. Y'all sub up to Abney Runup. Click that link. Make sure that that's the correct channel. I think it is. Yep. So he should have 1,000 subs by tonight if everybody goes over there and sub up. So subscribe to Abney Runup. And also subscribe to Put It in the Air podcast with my homie Big 8. To They Call Me B, she said, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. Doing what you do. They Call Me B. If you're listening, sweetheart, you know I always appreciate you. Thank you so much. Jimmy D, brother, if you're listening, I want to say thank you to you as well. Tanea, if you are listening, I want to say thank you to you. And to Yvonne J, thank you. Also to Debbie, last name starts with a D, so I don't want to put your whole name out there because you got a unique last name. If you're listening, I wanted to say thank you to you as well. And Darcy Ann said, keep spreading awareness. Darcy Ann, if you're listening, I want to say thank you to you as well. Hold on, we got one more. Keep standing for the kids. That is Ellen, and last name starts with a D. Ellen, last name starts with a D. If you're listening, per hands. Thank you guys so much. Definitely appreciate that. Y'all know the links are in the description box. If you want to show some love, feel free. I'll always let y'all do that at your own discretion, but I will shout you out, okay? I was a member for about 4 years. Jerry Smith, much love, much love. Even past support, I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. This little girl's birthday is tomorrow. Are you serious? Wow. I've been watching your show and great work that you do for all children. Thank you, Jane. Thank you. I'm trying to push a message. I really am. Thank you, Tanea. What's up, Amber? Amber Heard. Why does that name sound familiar? Amber Heard. Isn't that somebody famous has that name, don't they? Amber Heard. Isn't that Johnny Depp's ex-girlfriend? We got Johnny Depp's ex-girlfriend in the chat. Much love. Appreciate that. So we got some rich people in the chat. Much love, Amber Heard, a.k.a. Johnny Depp's ex. Much love. She is in the building. Appreciate that. If you ever want to spend some of those millions, hey, feel free if you want to donate. Just throwing it out there. But no, thank you for being here. This story comes out of Missouri. Do we have any people here from Kansas? If I would have told y'all earlier, y'all could have came out and saw me when I was in Kansas that weekend. I'll try to keep y'all posted a little bit earlier when I go places, so maybe I can meet some of y'all if there's some people out there that aren't too crazy. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you guys I'm going to say some things that I already know that y'all might get pissed off about me saying. But here's the thing. I look at these pictures and I look at these stories and I get really upset because I see these big, burly, just terrible human beings that you call these caretakers, like this individual here, that are essentially like big bullies, and they're murderers, in my opinion, until they're convicted in court. So let me parse my words on that. But it is perceived that they are murderers. They've been arrested and charged with these crimes. And it seems like they just abuse these children for absolutely no reason at all. And I just think that you just don't have a soul in your body. You don't have a heart. Like you're just a hollow individual on the inside if you can harm a baby. But let me give you guys the fair, not the fair usage, but a disclaimer. Some people might find my content controversial or offensive because I'm getting ready to say some offensive stuff here in a moment. The information is coming from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. I'm doing this in hopes of using these stories as cautionary tales in hopes of preventing these tragedies going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. I almost have that memorized. So Missouri takes the L. It's been a long time since I've said Missouri takes the L, but you know. A Missouri man, if we could even call him that, stands accused of beating his own 6-year-old daughter to death with an aluminum baseball bat. Please catch that. With an aluminum baseball bat. And I'm getting this information from lawandcrime.com. So thank you for the article. The judge denied his bond for an individual by the name. It looks like he got his ass whooped, and I'm glad he did. I hope they beat him to a pulp. Dustin L. Beechner, Beechner, 37 years old, in a hearing on Wednesday, according to the St. Joseph News Press. Police were called to the home on Mitchell Avenue in the morning of September the 2nd. So this is 12 days ago from the date of this video. They said the defendant Beechner led them to the roof. They said that the defendant Beechner, the father, led them to the roof where young Jocelyn Marie Beechner, this angel, was covered with a white sheet. I'm sorry, y'all. I get really upset. Like it just, that grips your soul. If you don't feel something on the inside and here, I don't know. He said she was his daughter, officers said. Law enforcement claimed that the child had been struck with a metal baseball bat several times. And I'm going to stop the MFing story right there. Y'all bear with me just a second. It just tears me up, man. Oh, that tears me up. I don't understand. I don't understand. When you look at this baby's face, let me try to get through this story, okay? When you look at this baby's face, and I ask myself, what could she have done to deserve this? What could she have done that made him freak out, lose his temper, get mad? Was it potty training? Did you just not like her? Are you just a horrible person? What was it? There had to have been a reason, and I'm just curious what his answer would be to that. What did this baby do to deserve that? You can look at her face. You can look at her eyes. And I believe that no child can ever, none, zero, black, white, it doesn't matter. Any child and no child can ever do anything to get and carry a parent to this point. If you ask me, like, she just was cursed with the worst father in history. And she's a happy baby. And no, she didn't deserve this. I'm really about to lose my composure a couple of minutes into this, and I do apologize. She was struck in the head with a metal baseball bat several times. She died from blunt force trauma to the head, and that's his Facebook page, which is still up. If y'all want to go over there and check it out, I'm sure some people might have some choice words, but his Facebook page is up. Beechner was reportedly on suicide watch at the Buchanan County Jail. He appeared in court via video at a hearing on Wednesday. I've been doing good for a year and a half in recovery, he told Associate Circuit Judge Keith Marquardt before the judge cut him off. Some things have been going on in my life. Marquardt warned him anything that he said could be used against him in court. The prosecutor was in the room. Records named no attorney for Beechner, who faces a count of child abuse resulting in death, and he faces life in prison. I don't even know why we even bothered to go through the pleasantries of that. But that's the law. In deciding the defendant should remain held without bond, Marquardt noted Beechner's prior 2 convictions for felony domestic assault. I want y'all to keep in mind that this baby is 6 years old and he had 2 prior assault charges. Felony domestic assault, 2 of them. The 37-year-old remained on probation for one of those cases. Bond review is scheduled for this upcoming Wednesday. Jocelyn would have turned 7 on Thursday, September the 15th, which is literally in 1 hour and 10 minutes from right now. Instead, reportedly, there will be a candlelit vigil in her honor at the Remington Nature Center in St. Joseph, and it's scheduled for 7:30 p.m. And I'm glad that people are doing candlelit vigils and stop releasing balloons. You're just polluting society, polluting the air. leaving trash all over the place. That's not any good. It doesn't make anything better. But I want to ask the difficult questions because there is no reporter. There is no news website. I don't think there is any police officials that will ask what I'm going to ask, which is why I continue to do what I do. And I don't know if anybody caught this, but I'm going to just speak on it. I'm going to say it. See that woman that he's laid up with right there? I don't know if that's the mother. She seems like she could be, but I don't want to call that out because I don't know that for a fact. But I will say this. I'm going to point this solely at the biological mother's feet. Where was the biological mother? Was that woman he was laying up with? Was that the biological mother? Matter of fact, you could actually go and look at some of his other pictures. He looks like a lame, L-A-M-E, a lame. Oh, matter of fact, let me show y'all something. I want y'all to take a look at what this mother decided to make children with. Where's that picture at? Do I have it? I want y'all to take a look at this and y'all tell me if I'm right or am I wrong. Ladies, I know I have a lot of ladies in my chat. I just put a picture on the screen and I know it takes a little bit of time. Y'all are about maybe 20 seconds behind. But I want y'all to take a look at this picture and I want y'all to tell me how many of y'all women just based on this picture alone would want to create a child with that. How many desperate women are out there that will want to date that, be around that, smell that? Like he just looked like he smells bad. Like he smells like ass and desperation. Right? Like he looks like a field of hopeless dreams. Like where dreams go to die. Come on, ladies. Is there anything attractive about that? Like, am I missing something? Do I need to zoom in more? Let me not do that. Might get flagged. I'm just curious. What's so attractive about this that not only that you make a child with this, but you keep your child around this? She was 6 years old. That means that there were 6 years of documented opportunities that she could have taken her child away from that. You want me to tell you why the biological mother didn't take her child away from that and why he had so much access to his child? Because in a lot of these cases, these bad mothers, it's not all, but these bad mothers only care about their own personal pleasures. They're more concerned about them having a man. They're more concerned about not being lonely. They're more concerned about them getting some type of sexual pleasure. I don't know how you did it here, but I guess some type of way. If there was like a scratch and sniff, this would automatically smell like radioactive or something. I don't know. If radioactivity had a smell, I'm pretty sure it would smell like him. But yes, I'm blaming this on the biological mother. Just, there's no reason not only to have procreated with him, but then to keep your child around him. I can almost guarantee you there was nothing about this man that said anything about productive, good father, hard worker, nothing. And it cost this baby her life. Let me give you guys the fair usage before I say some more inflammatory things. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Some people might not understand where I'm coming from, but I really hope that we can wake the hell up, please. If y'all would, do me a favor, if you feel where I'm coming from, click that thumbs up and share this video and let this baby know that her name and her death did not go in vain, okay? Let's get it.
Dustin Beechner, age 37, is currently accused of killing his 6-year-old daughter, Jocelyn Marie Beechner. Her body was found by police on September 2nd on the roof of their St. Joseph home. News Press Now's Riley Funk investigates Beechner's active and violent criminal history.
Dustin Beechner has a criminal record that dates back over a dozen years, and at the time of his latest arrest, he was on probation.
Let's back that up. And again, if y'all were wondering, like, why would you blame that on the mother? Let me play it back again. Let me let y'all hear this part again.
Active and violent criminal history.
Dustin Beechner has a criminal record that dates back over a dozen years, and at the time of his latest arrest, he was on probation.
Active and violent criminal history.
Dustin Beechner has a criminal record that dates back over a dozen years, and at the time of his latest arrest, he was on probation.
Let's think about this for a moment. He has a criminal record, based on what they just said, that dates back over a dozen years. Let's do the math if this little girl is only 6 years old. So that means if this biological mother would have done something as simple as a background search, thank you, you caught it, thank you. Background check, see where it comes into play? 12 years. So 6 years prior to this child being brought into fruition, here's what I think. I think that she knew that he was a criminal. Because if he was on some type of probation or something, he would have had to let his probation officer know where he was living. If he was living with some woman or whatever the case is, I honestly believe that the mother probably knew. And if she didn't know, then shame on her for not finding out before she just started going out here just making babies with just anything that grew off the side of a tree.
Beechner pleaded guilty in 2 previous domestic assault cases in Buchanan County, one of which involved a cousin and another in which the victim was a former girlfriend. Beechner was charged in an October 2010 assault after shooting his cousin in the abdomen. According to a probable cause statement filed in the case, Beechner was intoxicated at the time of that shooting. In the fall of 2019, Beechner pleaded guilty to domestic assault after an altercation with an ex-girlfriend, who was not Jocelyn Beechner's mother. The petition to plead guilty filed in the case states Beechner returned to the residence drunk. Beechner pleaded guilty in that case to third-degree domestic assault and was placed on 4 years probation, the conditions of which he was still under at the time of Jocelyn's death. Beechner is still held in the Buchanan County Jail without bond.
We have an update tonight on the story of the 6-year-old girl who was found dead during a police investigation yesterday.
And thank you for those who were able to share these stories on social media. If you have groups where you can share these, thank y'all for sharing that. I saw you said you shared it, so thank you for doing that.
Today, Meyerhofer Funeral Home has an obituary for the girl today. We have those new details.
On Friday morning, a female child was found dead at a home when police arrived to a scene and did an investigation. Meyerhofer Funeral Home has put out an obituary from family members, and that little girl is 6-year-old Jocelyn Marie Beechner. Jocelyn was a student at Parkway Elementary School in St. Joseph. The St. Joseph Police Department told us on Friday that officers were sent out to a home near 32nd Street and Mitchell Avenue after a report of a white man acting suspiciously near the home. When police got to the scene, they found the dead body of Jocelyn at the home. Police confirmed the man is 37-year-old Dustin L. Beechner, and he was Jocelyn's father. He was arrested and is charged with a Class A felony abuse of a child resulting in death, and he has no bond. Jocelyn's death is being investigated as a homicide.
And school resource officers were also sent to the scene as well, and school grief counselors are preparing to speak with students at the school. If you would like to see the full obituary, you can go to the link in our website article.
You know what I find funny, especially with stories like this, is how these criminals, these people who are not good candidates to be fathers or husbands or boyfriends, the worst type of people have no problem finding women that want to be with them and have unprotected sex with them. Isn't that something? A man who looks like that. Let's see if I can go back to that picture. Where is it at? Like this. This man had no problem getting him a girlfriend that just looked like somebody's chewed up gum on the bottom of somebody's shoe. That's his criminal information right there. So, yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think that we get this information from reliable sources. But again, I mean, I don't even know if he can even explain what the motive was. Did he just freak out or whatever the case is? For those who are asking about the GoFundMe, as of right now, I have not found a GoFundMe in this story. But like I say, if they're not willing to put life insurance on their children for having their children around dangerous people to begin with, then I don't know why we're so quick to funnel money into people's GoFundMe if they won't even invest and protect their children when it comes to life insurance. Everybody should have it. And we're actually going to bring on my friend that actually did an interview with us. We're going to bring her on here probably next week when we get some time. We're going to talk to Rebecca again about life insurance and explain the importance of it, as opposed to just waiting on society to pay for our burials and final expenses. This is a beautiful little girl, and Jocelyn deserves so much better. She deserved a better father. She deserved a better mother. And if you ask me, it looked like somebody had already punched him in the face, and I'm definitely happy to see that. I ain't gonna lie. He needs a lot more of that for what he did to his daughter. A metal baseball bat, though. To that angel, there is no excuse for that. Jocelyn Angel, I really wish she would have had better parents so that she could have grown up, and I think that she deserved every opportunity to grow up and become something great. So young Jocelyn, young princess, R.I.P. But thank you guys so much for listening to her story. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If there's something I missed, you can always post in there, and let's have a real discussion about these stories, okay? Thank you.